One. Hey guys, Eric from Team Rec here. We're here with Basil. He took first place today at our locals with Dinomorphia, a new archetype that came out in Battle of Chaos. And he's got some pretty spicy combos and interesting theory behind the deck. So we're just going to jump right into the main deck and let's hear it. And we'll talk about matchups afterwards. Here we go.
So we can point the camera down now because the card's the important part. Also the Duelist, but I swear this deck's kind of cracked.
Duelist is very important.
So the
Dinomorphia... sorry, did you want to just point them the other direction?
Oh, the other...
towards the camera?
Right. That's how this works. So you need to run... It has to be. I was about to cut the third one of this guy. Okay. You have to run 3 copies of each Dinomorphia card if you're running it as the main engine of the deck. So this one on summon will set any Dinomorphia trap from deck. Cannot be ashed. So yeah, some people reveal that they have Ash when you tell them you're going to do something from deck. It's pretty funny. Okay. But the fact that she gives you access to both of your fusion traps, which are your powerhouse cards, makes her the card that you want to open with 99% of the time. Diplos has an effect to send any Dinomorphia card from deck to grave on summon, which has some niche funny plays we can get into later. And the other main important part about these cards is when they're destroyed on field, you can banish a trap from grave and float into the other level 4. So they're a little bit sticky. And this is it for the Dinomorphia monsters. But I run right into... Oh, very tight. Nice. But that's all right because it's carried on the backs of a very neat Dino package. It's pretty bog standard if you're familiar with Animadorned Archosaur. Right. So we run the Misk, and there's going to be 3 Fossil Digs to search up all of these cards because these are all dinosaurs. All the Dinomorphia monsters are dinosaurs. But Misk gets you your Archosaur, and we know how this goes. Archosaur pops something to get Pill. Funnily enough, it can pop one of these, and if they're destroyed in hand, you can also banish trap, float into the other one. It's kind of silly.
Oh, awesome. Great synergy.
Pill, you use Pill to get UCT, Coatlas, very rarely Pankratops. Usually Pankratops if you open the UCT, but I've been making Coatlas more than UCT. I think the Spell and Trap Negate is insane, especially when you're trying to play a game of Protect Your Backrow. Right. So you can hard make UCT a lot in this deck, but I've been making more Coatlas than UCTs.
So I take it Oviraptor's pretty irrelevant?
Yeah, well it's your normal summon, right? And you'd rather normal summon the card that searches up your Dinomorphia plays.
Okay.
The last monster I run, the only hand... Oh, not the last monster I run. My only hand traps, monster-wise, are Ashes. Yep. Ash is nuts. It beats Brandon Despia 1,000-fold, so I gotta run Ash this format, I'm convinced. Right. And then a precursor to what else I run in the deck. Oh yeah, Dasher
just make sure to turn these around, that's all.
Turn them around, I'm so sorry.
Oh, no problem.
Dasher and Celestial.
Yeah, everyone knows what those ones do. Just mainly for the Dinomorphia stuff. Yeah, a question about the D-Hero package. So new format, a little bit more modified now with that whole package without Verte. So
not having Verte in this deck doesn't matter a ton, solely for the fact that we aren't making more than 1 monster, right? Right. I'm going to make some big play and pass, and what I make, I probably won't want to link into Verte. Yeah, but for sure. I am convinced in this format and at 2 Fusion Destiny that you want 3 Pot of if you're running 3 Pot of Prosperity, run the DPE package. This lets you, going first, see 11 cards out of your deck right off the hop if it doesn't get ashed. And I think the fact that you have such a skewed chance of opening Fusion Destiny that way makes Fusion Destiny not as bad as people are thinking it is without Verte. So yeah, I do run 3 pots. Funnily enough,
when you said 11 cards, you just mean like...
You draw 5,
there's multiples?
Well, you draw 5 cards for first turn, and then you activate pot, and you get to see 6 more. Cost 6.
Oh, okay, I see what you mean.
So I find that
I thought you meant you see 11 different cards.
I wish I could see 11 different cards every time.
6, just because you run multiples of those cards.
And honestly, pot's just great for the consistency, especially since I'm trying to link together 3 separate engines, being just Dinos, Dinomorphia, and DPE. 3 Fossil Digs. Fossil Digs busted not once per turn. I've had it ashed and then just followed up with another Fossil Dig. It puts you into Dinomorphia plays. It can search Miss to put you into basic Dino plays. Gotta run 3 if you're running the deck. And of course, the 2 Destinies. This will search up the Dasher Celestial, pitch him, and give you a very powerhouse of the card. DPE.
Of course.
And then 2 Pills. This card is actually nuts, not only off of Archosaur, but I hard cast it from hand all the time. Like, we can get into that later. Yeah, for sure. Pill is mostly just the Archosaur target, of course. And then the main event, I'm on 3 Dinomorphia Domain and 2 Dinomorphia Frenzy. So these are the fusion traps. I might play with the number of Frenzy back up to 3. I'd have to find a list I'm comfortable running 40 cards and 3 Frenzy. But what this one does is it'll fusion summon any Dinomorphia monster from your extra using material from your extra and your main. So these can both be ashed, but the fact that it's a 1-card fusion for a very powerful monster makes it more than its bang for its buck, especially if you're going
There's
first.
lots of ash bait in your deck too, so one of these are going to
Something's
resolve,
going
like
through.
Fossil Deck, Fusion
Something
Destiny,
is
or
going
the
through.
traps.
And then Domain is similar to Frenzy, except
Right.
you're using materials from on field or in deck. So again, it's a 1-card fusion if you just use monsters in deck.
Yep.
But either way, these are going to pump out your boss monsters, which
Awesome.
I'm saving best for last, of course. Get that out of the way. And then the one straggling card, I run a Dinomorphia Brute.
Okay.
I like to refer to this as a DPE effect because you flip it and it's a non-target. Destroy one of your Dinomorphias, destroy something of your opponents. So
Perfect.
they have to respond to Brute. If they don't, you get to choose what you're popping. It's a really kind of gotcha card, right? 3 Judgment. This card is a lot better than Strike. Strike hits Ash, but I'm not too worried about that. Solemn Judgment protects you from things like Lightning Storm, Duster, Cyclone, all the things that are going to target your back row. Which
That's
you're
what's
trying to
really going to hurt you.
Yeah, like you're not too worried about something getting struck in your deck.
Yeah.
You're looking for Judgment. Lastly, I'm on 3 Imperm. It's Imperm. Again, I needed another hand trap. I love Imperm. I think being able to use it going first and second, losing the die roll or winning, makes it pretty key.
Yeah.
And then my last card to round out my 40 is a Skill Drain because I have no skill. It has been drained. Yeah.
Would you ever contemplate more copies, or is it just kind of a nice one-up? You see it, whatever.
I was on 3. It's in here for redundancy because it does the same thing as Rexstrom, right? The boss monster this deck ends on is a skill drain. So opening it, not opening it, it hasn't mattered. I didn't flip it once today.
All right, extra?
Extra.
Let's do it.
Yes, sir. So here he is, Rextra in the extra. A Dinomorphia Rexstrom.
Oh yeah.
This guy is a walking skill drain, as I just alluded to. So you're making him with a fusion monster in your extra deck and a monster from your main deck 99% of the time.
Okay.
And pretty much, I forgot to mention, sorry, all the Dinomorphia traps have your life total on activation, which is extremely important. So this guy comes down, you'll probably be at around 2,000 or 1,000 by that point because you're going to want to flip 2 fusion traps, get yourself real low, and then you push yourself down to 1,000 using Kentragina. Her quick effect also pays half your life. And then suddenly this guy reads, your opponent can't activate monster effects face up on the field that are equal to or higher than your life total. Meaning, they have to play things weaker than 1,000 attack to keep playing. It shuts down a lot of decks in the current meta, and I've been really enjoying just jamming this guy as a pseudo skill drain because he looks a little more technical and skillful, but in reality he's quite the powerful floodgate.
A little more sophisticated.
Well, he does get a little more sophisticated because he has a quick effect too, and it comes up a lot. Quick effect, again, have your life total. Then all your opponent's face-up monsters attack becomes equal to your life total. Meaning, if your opponent passes back to you and you have a board of fusion monsters, you're probably taking games. The other card, and I think this one is better than Rexstrom because it gets multiple bodies on field. It baits things like Ash Effect, Veiler, Imperm, whatever. It's a quick effect. Pay half your life points, banish a Dinomorphia trap from your grave, and replace its effect. Replace this card's effect with that effect, so it makes another fusion summon. The craziest part about this one is that since you can only use the Dinomorphia traps in main, you can go to battle phase and then use her banishing one of the Dinomorphia traps because it doesn't copy the cost, it copies the effect, meaning you can do some pretty crazy backflips during battle phase with this card.
Nice. And that will probably catch a lot of people off guard.
Yeah, it has. I've had the effect get quick effect try to negate or stop it from attacking, and then it's just quick effect, banish a trap, fuse it off so that I make another copy of it if I wanted to.
For sure.
The other main key part about these guys is he floats into the level 6s when he's popped.
Right.
The level 6s float into the level 4s. So the deck has a lot of staying power. If your opponent thinks they have you, chances are you just declare a couple effects in grave and rebuild a smaller board. But a small board's better than no board, right?
Definitely.
Lastly, for the Dinomorphia monsters in the extra, I run 2 Stealth Persia. This is just fusion materials.
Right.
I do not make this card at all. It has a quick effect to burn your opponent when they activate a monster effect equal to its attack, but it doesn't come up ever. I just pitch it for one of my fusion spells, and that's the day for him.
Awesome.
Lastly, of course, the DPE. This
Everyone's
card,
favorite.
everyone knows this card. It's over centralizing on things like Master Duel. It deserved the hit to Anaconda in the TCG.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna swear by this card in this deck because it really does make it go the extra mile. If you can set up your little skill drain, if you can set up a Dino play, cute. But if you can follow up with Fusion Destiny that you searched off Pot of Prosperity, you're in the driver's seat.
It's going to simplify an already simplified game state from the Dinomorphia, fusions, things like
And
that.
the
right?
technical
Yeah.
play you can do with DPE too, being a non-target destruction, just makes it a real guessing game. So I'd stick by this in the Dino engine if you're playing pure. Lastly, we're going to go into the Exceed monsters. These
Yep.
really don't matter. I'm on Abyss Dweller, didn't make it. Holzard Dolka, didn't make it. T-Dragon, didn't make it. These are my prosperity costs most of the time. It's
Okay.
kind of tough to get two
Makes
level
it
4s
easier
on the
for
field.
you, yeah.
However, if you do, it's nice to have the option, right? So,
Yeah,
you know,
better to
these-
have and not need.
Yeah,
Vice
these
versa,
could be
right?
your rank 4s of choice. An earlier version of the build, I had Utopia Prime, and I actually resolved it. Google
Oh,
that
nice.
card. I'm not going over it, but
Oh, yeah.
the last things, and these are actually super important, are my link lineups.
Mhm.
And this is something I want to go over real quick, right?
For sure.
So Secure Garden and Link Rebo are the bog standards for, I gotta flip them around here,
Yeah.
for the Archosaur play, and then Salmon Great Almirage. So, what these do is not used for their effects. Secure Garden does come up sometimes because he protects you from the next instance of damage you would
Right.
take. So it's really nice when you bring yourself down to 500 life points, your opponent thinks they can run over and hit you for game, and then you just say Secure Garden effect and you're actually safe. But the reason I run these specifically is because of Diplos, Pill, and UCT as soon as I find that bad boy. So what this deck can do is if you open Diplos and Pill or UCT, you can make UCT 99% of the times, or you can use Pill for Coatlas, Dino Wrestler, or just UCT. But how it works is because he's got 1,000 or less attack and was normal summon, uses effect, you pitch the Theresia, and then you can link this guy off into Almirage, link the Almirage off into Secure Gardener, and then suddenly you've got the materials for either Pill effect or UCT cost. Sorry, Pill cost, UCT cost.
Nice.
And it came up multiple times today, like at least 4 times, where I drew Pill and it looks like a dead card, but in reality it's like, oh, I drew Pill, I get to use it for its intended effect.
Awesome.
But overall, the deck runs extremely smoothly. None of the cards feel like a brick until you open multiple monsters. And I mean, it happens, but if you
yeah.
open at least one trap, it's safe to say, like, you know what, I have a fighting chance.
You can make the most out of mediocre hands.
And it's surprising. Like,
Yeah.
it's surprising how many hands look bad, but in a format where your opponent's plays are just like, make my big swingy creatures with a negate that's stapled onto it, it's like, okay, but catch this. During your main phase, I'm going to do my bigger plays.
Yeah.
But overall, I was super surprised to go undefeated today, and super happy with how the deck worked out.
Yeah, we got side deck,
Side deck, yes.
and then we can do some matchups for sure.
Matchups,
Talk
those are
about
my
some
favorite
highlights.
things. Replaying how I misplayed. Alright, so Droll. I really like Droll this format.
Yeah.
Droll is Droll. He's going to stop your opponent from drawing a ton of cards. He didn't. I think I dropped him like once, but other than that, I'm gonna keep him in the extra deck because I think he does hit certain matchups like
Yeah.
Despia. They draw a lot of cards, right?
Yeah, the alert build, you can really hurt them.
3 Godarla, specifically Godarla to get over Barrier Statue, the Wind Barrier Statue.
Right.
And again, talking about how this deck can make the best out of bad hands.
Yeah, you got this story here.
Game 3 in round 1 against Branded Despia, I opened 3 Godarlas, and it took me to the ship. I was able to tribute his monster. He was going first. Tribute his monster, summon my own Godarla, and then when he passed back, I think I had a fusion trap on the field or something, and he summons Albaz, and he pitches fusing with my Godarla, so that when he passed back to me, I was able to summon the 3rd. So maybe I'm just lucky, but Kaijus are pretty dope.
Yeah.
3 Cosmic Cyclones. I had it in here because they have a life point cost, and I thought life point costs were kind of neat with this deck. But at that point, it's just kind of gimmicky because there are situations where you'll cut yourself too low, and you won't be able to activate Cosmic Cyclone.
You'd rather just naturally get to the number through Dinomorphia?
Exactly.
Okay.
You want to use like the Dinomorphia cards to do the Dinomorphia plays. It's a little cheeky to try and, you know, wedge in spells and traps and monsters that incidentally pay life. You know, this could be your spell or trap removal of choice. But this is going to change. I'm not sure what to yet, but I'm sure there's cards that hit the meta a lot harder than Cosmic Cyclone these days anyways.
On the topic of life points quickly, like, it's kind of fragile to be at a low life point total, like with time and all that, or Swordsoul burn, like, obviously you didn't have a problem today not losing, but
luckily,
is that ever a problem, like, in testing?
It comes up a lot, especially depending on the speed and pace at which players play.
Yeah, for sure.
I have lost in time before, and it sucks. But this deck will put itself to 250 life points, like on your first set.
And
of
you
plays.
can manage?
And yeah, you can manage. The worst part I'd say about being that low is that if your opponent opens something like Change of Heart is a new thing, Triple Talent Tactics, and Underworld Goddess,
right?
Because you're so low, they can just make something bigger than what you have on field and hit you for game.
Okay.
And that's pretty much like how the deck loses. But otherwise, you know, it's got Rexstream to try and protect you from that.
Yeah.
It's kind of, I like the gambling playstyle of getting so low, and the payoff is having some really ridiculous monsters, in my opinion.
High risk, high reward.
But that's the only issue I'd say I'd have with paying life points.
Okay, yeah, we can get going with the side deck then.
The
I was
last
just curious about that.
set of cards I run is Anti-Spell. This card's insane, this format. It stops all the decks. I'm not even going to exaggerate when I say it hits every deck. Everyone has a spell to start their engine. Funnily enough, not this deck.
Spells are cracked.
All I need is Fossil Dig, but even if I don't have Fossil Dig, I don't really mind because I'm just normal summon set 3 pass or something.
Yeah, maybe you draw the Diplos or whatever.
But 3 anti-spell, run it in your side, you need it. And this is my cheeky pick, the COVID card as it's been dubbed.
Right.
A Pointer of the Red Lotus. I was going through my binder, I saw pay 2,000 life points, and I said, I gotta run it. The best part about this card, unfortunately I did not draw it. I sided in going first every time. But the reason I run it is because, especially in a deck like this, getting the knowledge on your opponent's hand, knowing what you're supposed to be playing around for the rest of the duel, and also ripping out their best play. I don't know why this card fell back into obscurity, but I'm going to try and put some shine on its name because every time I resolve it, and I've resolved it in the past, unfortunately not today, it's felt like a blowout for my opponent because they lose their play and I know what I'm playing around.
Awesome. I agree there, yeah. So that's the deck. Thanks, Basil. That was a great profile. We'll have some combos to go over as well, so stay tuned for that. And again, congratulations on the win.
Thank you so much.
Thanks,
I was
guys.
very happy to win today.
Awesome. Take care, guys.